Chapter 1, Section 2. Begin in your own backyard. Whenever you step outdoors, you walk into a laboratory similar to where men like Sir Francis Bacon and Sir Isaac Newton studied science. They used the meadows, woods, and waters around them to study God's creation. You can also use the outdoors to study nature. Even your own backyard can provide a place for you to observe and study organisms. By observing the outdoors, you are, in a small way, following in the footsteps of these great scientists. Preparing to observe. Because there is so much to learn about nature, the great scientists of the past kept carefully written records of what they learned, allowing them to share this knowledge with others. Like these scientists, you should keep a notebook of your observations about nature. In your notebook, write detailed descriptions of any flora and fauna that you observe. For plants, note the shape and arrangement of the leaves. Do you see any flowers or seeds on the plant? Is it in the shade or in full sunlight? Also, do you see any animals that live or feed on it? Make sure you record them with your plant's description. When observing an animal, record details about its appearance, such as color, shape, size, or number of legs. Did it make any songs, calls, or noises? If so, try to describe how it sounded. Record ways in which animals and plants show God's design for things like where they live, what they eat, and how they act. Note any special body structures and consider how they relate to the organism's physiology. Also, record the relationships between organisms and how they help or hurt each other. Include the date, time, and location of all entries. When observing outside, you should also record the type of weather. If possible, sketch or photograph what you observe. Sketches or photographs do not replace a written description, but can include details or colors that are hard to describe. Place any sketches and photographs in your notebook. A handy environment for study. If you study life science in your backyard, you will probably be studying organisms in a meadow environment. An environment is everything surrounding the organism being studied. Environments on land, like meadows, are called terrestrial. Other terrestrial environments include deserts, mountains, savannas, and jungles. Each one has its own unique flora and fauna. The home of an organism is its habitat. Soil is one of the habitats in your backyard. If you dug up the soil, you would discover ants, beetle grubs, and other insects. The ground may also be home to burrowing mammals like chipmunks, woodchucks, and moles. Many common snakes also live in underground burrows. The ground beneath your backyard is teeming with life, even though you do not normally see it or think about it. A different set of animals will be found above ground in a meadow environment. Usually, you can immediately observe bees, butterflies, grasshoppers, and other insects. Whether you look in the sky or on the ground, you will see a variety of birds. With enough patience, you may also observe several other types of animals, including mice, rabbits, lizards, and squirrels. Seasons of change. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. Changes in the environment will change the types of organisms that can be observed. The amount of light is the most frequent of these changes. Most familiar terrestrial organisms are diurnal, or active mainly during the day. Other organisms are nocturnal, or active mainly at night. Some common nocturnal animals are raccoons, garden toads, fireflies, and moths. Although most flowers bloom during the day, the evening primrose and the night flowering catchfly bloom at night. Most of the animals found in your backyard are active during dry weather, but seek shelter during wet weather. Some animals, however, are easier to find during wet weather. Burrowing animals like earthworms and certain snakes will emerge during a rainstorm if water begins to fill their tunnels. Seasonal changes also affect the activity of plants and animals. During the spring, new plants sprout and trees start to grow new leaves. Some of the most vividly colored flowers bloom during this time of year. Animals begin nesting and raising young. While observing, you may even catch a glimpse of baby deer or rabbits. Summer is also a busy time as flowers continue to bloom and animals rapidly grow in size. Most of the plants that you observed flowering in the spring have begun developing fruits on their branches. When the weather cools and the autumn approaches, many animals prepare for the upcoming winter by storing food. Some animals store food in burrows or holes in trees. Other animals eat constantly to build energy reserves, allowing them to sleep through most of the winter. Most of nature shuts down during the winter. Plants and animals that live for only 1 year die in late fall or early winter. Other organisms enter dormant or inactive states to help them conserve stored energy. Animals will hibernate and plants will lose their leaves and stop growing. Some animals migrate to warmer climates. Deer, squirrels, and certain birds remain active during the winter.